On my way home from a business trip, Maggie suddenly called, "You jinx. You had to make Ethan come pick you up. Now he's dying in a car accident. Are you happy now?" My hands shook as I rushed home, only to find my husband's body already cremated. Robert and Maggie beat me, took all our assets, and left me drowning in debt. Consumed by guilt, I quit my job to salvage Ethan's bankrupt company. For 5 years, I worked 18-hour days until the debts were cleared. When diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer, I welcomed death until I saw Ethan alive at the hospital. He stood with Robert, Maggie, and a pregnant woman, laughing. "That idiot earned us millions these years. Shame she's dying. Or we could have milked her dry." I collapsed from rage. When I reopened my eyes, Maggie's screech pierced my ears. "Emily, you cursed witch. Ethan's dead because of you." Pinching my thigh hard, I interrupted, "Mom. Which hospital? I'm downtown already." Maggie stuttered, "But, your flight's at 11? I smirked. Last life. They'd cremated Ethan during my flight delay. This time, I chartered a $15,000 helicopter. Watching Maggie pale when I strode into the hospital was worth every cent. You actually came?" she stammered. I breezed past her toward the morgue. Let's see how they fake a death with the corpse still breathing. I wiped away non-existent tears, shoved Maggie aside, and leaned over the coffin. The elderly woman yelped as she fell, but I ignored her, sobbing over the body. "Ethan, how could you leave me like this?" I wailed. "Did your parents skimp on emergency care to save money?" The supposedly deceased Ethan still felt warm when I boldly opened the casket lid. His barely perceptible breathing and unresponsive state when I slapped his cheeks twice confirmed my suspicion he'd either taken sedatives or anesthesia. "Look how pale you are, darling," I cooed, reddening his cheeks. "Let me make you presentable for your farewell." Maggie scrambled up, screeching, "You jinx. How dare you strike my boy?" As neighbors gathered, she launched into theatrics. "My son died fetching this ungrateful woman. She killed him with her selfishness." Biting my lip, I countered tearfully, "Mrs. Wilson, did you even hire a mortician? Ethan deserves dignity." The refrigeration wasn't even on. My fingers brushed the coffin's power cord meaningfully. 3-day viewings cost less than $1,000. He's your flesh and blood. When I plugged in the unit, visible frost crept across Ethan's suddenly rigid form. Maggie's panicked twitch didn't escape me. "See how she pinches pennies even now?" I told the crowd. "Let's give the Wilsons privacy." As onlookers dispersed, old Mrs. Thompson admonished Maggie, "Let your son rest properly." The matriarch kept eyeing the power cord until I slapped her hand away. "The heat will spoil him. Mrs. Wilson, say your final goodbyes." When Lily arrived, Maggie collapsed dramatically into her arms. "Emily, you should rest," my supposed best friend suggested, stroking the older woman's back. My eyes narrowed. Last lifetime, I'd missed how Lily's airport pickup coincided with Ethan's accident. I maintained vigil, ignoring relatives' pleas until Maggie's fake tears turned genuine. "Where's Robert?" she hissed, watching condensation form on the coffin. "He'll really die if..." "Really what? Mrs. Wilson?" I inquired sweetly. Her ashen face answered before Lily's timely intervention. The game was afoot. How long could Ethan play corpse in his frosty prison? I never wondered why Lily remained unscathed. Now it became clear she was in on the secret too. Yet her figure bore no resemblance to that pregnant woman. What role did she play in this? Who was the other woman? My mind swarmed with questions as Lily forcibly pulled me up and pushed me out of the funeral home. "Maggie and I will handle everything here. Don't you trust us?" she said, her voice dripping with false concern. "You must be exhausted rushing back from your business trip. Go home and rest. I'll call when everything's settled." "Emily." She clasped my hands. "We've been best friends since childhood. Have I ever let you down?" As I left, Maggie lunged at the cryogenic casket, yanking out the power cord. Frost coated Ethan's face as she clambered onto the platform, weeping hysterically, ignoring her theatrics. I fixed Lily with a stare. Did you sign his death certificate? We grew up together. I pressed, hardening my voice. Don't lie to me. Part of me still hoped for remorse after all. In my previous life, Lily had helped rebuild my life after Ethan's death, even securing my company's first major deal. Lily's eyes darted nervously. We did everything we could. His internal injuries, her voice cracked. Emily, you need to accept. Sighing, I dialed the crematorium. You're right. I cut her off. Letting go is kinder than prolonging grief. Maggie. I turned to my mother-in-law. I've ordered the premium incinerator. We'll skip the ceremony to spare expenses. The funeral team arrived within minutes, bringing burial garments and a mortician. As they began preparing the body, Maggie tried to intervene. I shoved her aside. Work faster. I urged the staff. My elderly mother-in-law keeps trying to join her son in death. The attendants visibly quickened their pace, positioning pallbearers as human shields against Maggie's clawing hands. When Lily opened her mouth to protest, I cut her off with tears. Every moment we delay risks breaking Maggie completely. The moment they lifted Ethan's body, Lily panicked. Wait. His finger moved, dragging me to the casket. She slapped Ethan's face viciously. Wake up. You're killing your mother. To his credit, Ethan's finger twitched. His mortuary makeup couldn't hide the fresh slap marks. I bit back laughter. She'd hit him harder than I ever did. Maggie's silent tears spoke volumes about whose survival mattered most. See? Lily grabbed my arm. He's alive. Let me take him back to the hospital. The funeral director stepped forward. Post-mortem muscle spasms are common. We've verified the death certificate. His assistant added. Physical stimulation can trigger residual bioelectrical activity. When Lily reached for the documents, I thrust the paperwork in her face. Your signature's right here. Dr. Green. Care to explain this medical negligence? If this gets dragged back, it'll be considered medical malpractice. I wiped my tears and said emotionally. Lily, thank you for being willing to sacrifice your career future for Ethan. I know you're worried we'll be heartbroken and want to attempt resuscitation again. But even through my grief, I understand the dead can't return. Your prominent signature, the hospital's official seal, everything's clearly documented in black and white. Lily froze, staring helplessly at Maggie. The elderly woman had completely lost composure, weeping as they waited for Robert's arrival. Seizing the opportunity, I had Ethan's body removed while instructing Maggie and Lily to meet me at the crematorium. The eerie calmness I felt in the hearse chilled even myself. Too much had happened in these 2 hours since my rebirth. But my thoughts were crystal clear. Robert and his mistress still hadn't shown they were likely together. The crematorium would force their hand, revealing the woman even my best friend had conspired to protect. Faint thumps came from the ice coffin. Lily's earlier slaps had roused Ethan from drug-induced unconsciousness. His trembling form in the frost-lined casket suggested he might break through the sedatives any moment to strike me. Last lifetime. They hadn't needed this charade since I'd stayed away. Now their rushed deception showed in the insufficient dosage. Ethan was waking too soon. Could we hurry? Driver? His elderly parents shouldn't suffer prolonged grief. The seasoned driver sighed. Running yellow lights. I watched Ethan's twitching eyelids. Darling, I know you're unwilling to go. Don't worry, I'll manage the company well. The family fortune will be spent wisely. Your parents never liked me anyway. After you're gone, I'll free them to find their ideal daughter-in-law. Oh, and remember how I always said I couldn't conceive? The fertility issue was actually yours, childhood mumps complications. I never had the heart to tell you before. As I spoke, memories of my in-laws' mockery flashed through my mind. Ethan's tremors intensified from rage or cold. He shook violently for 10 minutes before collapsing unconscious. The driver made record time, 15 minutes to the crematorium. Exiting the vehicle, he hesitantly warned, "Ma'am, there were noises earlier." Are you certain about immediate cremation without memorial rites? I glanced at Ethan's body being unloaded. We never had children. And with his sudden death, of course I want proper rites. But his parents, fresh tears welled as I implored. Please help restrain them from rash actions. The driver nodded solemnly. Understood. I'll ensure safe proceedings. Booking the VIP incinerator with family viewing privileges forced their confrontation. As workers positioned Ethan's pale, burial-clad form on the conveyor, the door burst open. You scheming bitch. Trying to murder my son? Robert's thunderous roar preceded the entrance. Behind him trailed Maggie, Lily, and the woman they shielded, my supposed childhood friend Sophia. The revelation stung. Sophia, Lily's cousin. No wonder she'd betrayed our decades-long friendship. For a man, they'd discarded our shared history. Forgotten how I'd donated blood to save Sophia after her car accident. When she'd needed rare-type blood years ago. Lily had begged my help. My veins had flowed with life for this backstabber. She was grateful to me and kept inviting me to meals. Before long, the three of us became close friends who shared everything. Even after seeing her retreating figure in my past life, I never imagined Sophia would be the one to stab me in the back. When did they get together? Before I could recover from the shock of seeing Sophia, Robert charged forward to slap me. Fortunately, the driver noticed the tension and shielded me. I quickly composed myself, tears streaming down my face. Dad. Ethan's gone. Let him rest in peace. However painful this is, life must go on. Should the living be dragged down by the dead? Please accept this and let him be cremated properly. Robert flew into a rage, smacking the driver aside and lunging at me. You're trying to kill Ethan. You bitch. Bring my son out now and kowtow to apologize. The driver wiped blood from his lip and stood protectively before me. Miss. Now I understand why you hired me. Old man. I'll let this slide since you just lost your son. But don't push your luck. His raised voice attracted staff members. What's happening? Objecting to the cremation? The body's already here, are we playing games? Keep it down. The furnace is starting. Take arguments outside. As machinery roared to life, Robert scrambled toward the conveyor belt despite my protests. The retort stood too high, he stumbled and fell. Emily. Speak up. They're taking Ethan in. Robert bellowed when his efforts failed. Maggie slapped Sophia across the face, screaming hysterically, save him. They're burning my boy alive. Sophia rushed to the staff with feigned distress. Shut it off. He's still alive. This would be murder. My tears fell freely as I gasped. What nonsense are you spouting? I spent tens of thousands chartering a flight home because you said he was dead. If he's alive, why hasn't he moved through all this commotion? Why does he still lie here at death's door? Mom? Dad? Lily, I understand your grief. But look at his stiff body and the official death certificate. Can't we let Ethan depart with dignity? Turning to the staff, I presented the documents. My apologies, they're struggling with loss. As Ethan's legal spouse, I've completed all formalities. Please proceed. As the workers nodded, Lily flushed crimson staring at the death certificate. Quiet Sophia suddenly spoke. Wait. That certificate's forged by my sister. Do you want murder charges? Just check his vital signs. Her tearful plea made the staff pause. They relented, returning Ethan's body. The Wilsons clustered around the stretcher wailing. A worker examined Ethan and frowned at me. He's comatose but alive. Prolonged refrigeration caused this. My hands trembled as I dialed 911. Mom? Dad, why lie about Ethan's death? Lily. Your signature's on this certificate. You knew he. Sophia's cool voice cut through. Emily. Why ignore our calls? You nearly got Ethan killed. Were you doing this on purpose? So you could take Ethan's fortune all for yourself? Sophia sobbed, her voice trembling with feigned hurt. Just then, officers and paramedics entered. Sophia paused dramatically before pointing at me, tears streaming down her face. If we hadn't arrived in time, Emily, you'd be a murderer right now. Robert and Maggie quickly joined the chorus. bombarding the officers with accusations. Look at our call logs, we dialed her dozens of times. But she refused to answer. She kept insisting on cremating Ethan even after we told her he was alive. Officers. Emily planned this. You need to arrest her and make her talk. My poor boy nearly froze to death. Once Ethan recovers, you're divorcing him immediately. Emily, you'll leave with nothing. Our family wants nothing to do with this viper. I silently raised my hand, clutching Ethan's death certificate and cremation paperwork. Officer. I'm completely confused, I said, my voice shaking. First they told me he died in a car crash. Now he's alive? Since when do hospital death certificates mean nothing? Ethan hasn't opened his eyes once, how can they claim he's fine? Playing the clueless widow. I activated the recording. Maggie's shrill voice filled the room, her original call viciously announcing Ethan's death. All eyes turned to Maggie, the weakest link in their scheme. Cornered. She shrank behind Robert, babbling, I didn't know anything. Lily made me do it. The fake death certificate was her idea too. If my son dies, both her and Emily should rot in jail. The seasoned officer saw through the charade instantly. Everyone was hauled to the station except Ethan, who was rushed back to ICU. Under pressure, the elderly Wilsons cracked immediately. Their plot emerged, fake Ethan's death to seize assets, then force me to slave away paying their debts. Maggie erupted during interrogation, she's barren. Wouldn't even let Ethan father children elsewhere. Were we supposed to let the Wilson line die out? She froze my boy on purpose to steal everything. I wept silently as her tirade continued, our contrasting performances speaking volumes. The Wilsons received 15 days detention for attempted fraud. Lily lost her medical license and faced massive fines for forging documents and moving a living patient to the morgue. When I later encountered Lily dragging her suitcase toward the Wilson home, she launched into fresh theatrics, Emily. You know I'd never betray you. They threatened to ruin my career. We're both victims here, you'll help me fight them. Right? I smiled non-committally, letting her march toward the trap. Sophia answered the door, noticeably pregnant. A second child? Poor Ethan, still comatose yet already crowned king of cuckolds. Lily paled. Sophia? What are you doing here? With Ethan in ICU. You should be at the clinic getting that problem taken care of. We're not stepping into this mess. Sophia glared at her sister Lily. Lily, what are you doing here? Mom and Dad are napping. Get out before you cause trouble. Lily shoved past Sophia. The Wilsons got me fired after asking for my help. You think I'll let this slide? She turned to me. Emily. Make Sophia leave. Let's confront those old bastards together. Sophia's face hardened. Keep causing scenes and I'm calling the cops. This was consensual, stop acting noble. Her eyes narrowed. How much did Ethan pay you anyway? Lily froze. Stunned her own sister would side with outsiders. Within moments, the siblings were clawing at each other's hair until Robert and Maggie rushed out. The three of them beat Lily until her face swelled purple. Cowering behind me, Lily begged for help. I shrugged. I'm just here to finalize the divorce. Finish your fight first, we'll talk after. Sophia's eyes lit up. Whispering to Lily, she miraculously calmed the hysterical woman. Maggie quivered with rage but dared not touch me. You scheming bitch. You've ruined our family line. She spat. Thank God Sophia's carrying our grandchild. Or I'd kill you myself. I studied Sophia's bump and laughed until tears came. Congratulations on the adultery evidence. Ironclad for court. Maggie's tirade choked into wheezes. Slapping divorce papers into Sophia's hand, I said, have Ethan sign these during your ICU visits. Their jaws dropped reading my terms. You want the company? Sophia cackled. Mom. Dad. Let Ethan sign. She's demanding half the assets plus our failing business. I smirked at their confusion. True. The company was bleeding money now, but unlike these fools, I knew its potential. Last life. I turned it profitable in 5 years. This time? 12 months max. Delighted by their bargain, The Wilsons scurried to notarize the agreement. Next morning, I received the signed documents and began corporate takeover. Let the Greens and Wilsons scheme, I'd simply mail Ethan's medical report in 9 months. A month later, Sophia wheeled Ethan into the courthouse. Overdosed on anesthesia. He sat drooling, hands limp, legs half paralyzed. His dull eyes followed Sophia's swollen belly. Pity he couldn't hear my funeral whisper. Congratulations on the heir. I smiled. How would his broken body handle the truth? Ethan trembled violently upon seeing me. Face purpling with silent screams. Pathetic twitches replaced his former swagger. Sophia gently pressed his thumb to the divorce papers, beaming as she accepted the certificate. With the finalized divorce, I purged all Wilsons from the company. 6 months later, Sophia delivered a chubby boy bearing zero resemblance to Ethan. On the baby's 1-month celebration, I mailed Ethan's infertility diagnosis. The aftermath? Hospitalized Sophia after Robert and Maggie's beating. Ethan suffered a stroke from rage, now bedridden. Tended by his elderly parents. Karma's collection proved thorough. As for me? The company's profits would soon skyrocket, entirely mine. After Sophia Green sued the Wilson family for domestic violence with substantial evidence, Robert and Maggie Wilson were sent back to prison, leaving their son Ethan bedridden and neglected. When the elderly Wilsons returned post-incarceration, they discovered Ethan had starved to death at home. Though newly widowed, Sophia inherited a fortune and vanished with her child, evading even her cousin Lily's attempts to track her. They resurfaced years later at our company's IPO press conference. The white-haired Wilsons stormed in clutching flyers, denouncing me publicly. That woman stole our son's company during the divorce. Robert shouted. Emily left us penniless. How can you trust products from such heartless executives? We're suing her. Maggie wailed. Society must protect vulnerable seniors. Their performative tears dried when they realized the silent media crowd held no sympathy. Security dragged Maggie out mid-tirade as cameras rolled. Every humiliating moment unfolded exactly as I'd planned. Of course they'd exploit high-profile events for personal gain. Their stunt backfired spectacularly. Our rebranded company's mission to empower women went viral, with my own story of surviving toxic in-laws and betrayal trending nationwide. The narrative wrote itself: archaic patriarchs, a leeching ghost husband, backstabbing friends, and the phoenix rising from ashes. Our products sold out within hours of going public. Meanwhile, the Wilsons lost everything to Sophia's financial scheming. Ethan received a pauper's cremation without memorial. Their relentless crusade eventually exposed Sophia's pregnancy with a fugitive's child, her childhood sweetheart whose hit and run she'd once helped cover up. All those blood donations I'd made for her suddenly felt wasted. As for Lily? Stripped of her medical license, she floundered in sales jobs, desperately seeking my help. But I'd long since traded our old apartment for a penthouse where my parents now live comfortably. This rebirth forged me into someone stronger, a woman charting new paths while lighting torches for others.